DOA and Virtua Fighter are obviously very similar games, but they're obviously very different, right? The biggest thing that I hate about Dead or Alive 6 is the ground game. It's one of the most annoying fucking things. So annoying. Ground game is atrocious in DOA 6. However, I do feel like because the ground game is so bad, the fact that there's fucking crutch mechanics already, it adds to the game already having a bad ground game. Virtua Fighter is completely different, right? Virtua Fighter, the sidestepping takes skill. You actually have to know when to sidestep. There's nothing in this game that's like, yo, that's some crutch ass shit. You know what I'm saying? DOA, the sidestepping takes no skills. It requires meter to do. It requires no skill. It's literally brain dead. You don't even have to time it with attacks or strings. You can just do it. DOA 6, there's a mechanic where you can literally get off the floor and super somebody for trying to pressure you on wake up. It absorbs the fucking attack. Okay? And it's plus on block. And it's pretty fucking fast to do all that. This game doesn't have any of that. So is it annoying sometimes that people lay on the floor? Yeah, it is annoying, definitely. But the problem comes into play where the supers and shit make the game completely unplayable for me. Let's look back to Dead or Alive 2. Every Dead or Alive before Dead or Alive 4. No one complained about the ground game in Dead or Alive 1, 2, and 3 because that's the game was heavily based off of Virtua Fighter. Dead or Alive back in the day, bro, dead ass. Dead or Alive 2 reminded me very heavily of this game. When I used to play Dead or Alive 2 online, that was an all-out brawl. Don't get me wrong, there was the stun system. That's what makes Dead or Alive very unique. The stun system. There's no other fighting games that have that unique stun system where you can continue to stun and make your opponent guess. However, back in Dead or Alive 2, you were literally playing Virtua Fighter with a stun system. There was no ground game. You couldn't tech people up off the floor. You know what I mean? Grappler characters couldn't pick you up off the floor. You got hit into the wall, you couldn't even wake up kick. You had to deal with that pressure. This game literally is Dead or Alive 2. Shadosha will even tell you. Dead or Alive now isn't very similar to Virtua Fighter in the context of the game plays the same. Because even though Dead or Alive 6's ground game is absolutely terrible, you can still tech people up to some extent. Dead or Alive 3, 2, and 1 were literally Virtua Fighter with a stun system. That game was heavily, the original Dead or Alive games were heavily based off of Virtua Fighter. They feel very similar, which is why I'm able to pick this game up and learn it at a faster rate, because I have experience not only playing Dead or Alive 6 and Dead or Alive 5 and 4, but the other Dead or Alives that came out before that when I used to play them online. The one thing that I will say that makes me love DOA, and that's obviously why we all play the game, the stun system, exactly like Clearlight just said, the stun system keeps those players in check. Whereas in this game, like a mix between Tekken and DOA. Because in this game, there's not necessarily a stun system. There is staggering out of certain moves, but it's not really a stun system. When you get counter hit in this game, you're usually going to get bounded or launched. That's very similar to Tekken. Tekken, you're not going to get a stun for counter hitting somebody, but you are going to get that stun or that launch into some kind of a combo. So I say the combo system works very similar to Tekken in that context, but everything else is DOA. So it's like you're playing a mix of both games, you know? So I will say that Dead or Alive definitely has more free-flowing movement than Virtua Fighter. In Dead or Alive, it is definitely easier to back up. Now, it's not nearly on the fucking strength of Tekken. Tekken is literally like, you gotta break your fingers, especially when you're first learning the game on pad. You gotta break your fingers to move backwards. Another thing, for example, Virtua Fighter has a block button. That's very, very comfortable for me as a DOA player, because you guys know in DOA you can hold back to block or there's a block button. Now, for those of you guys that hold back to block, I'm sorry. I've always been a hold square to block type of guy. That's always the way I've been. There is certain situations in DOA where I will hold back to block, but it's very rare. I always block with my guard button. Obviously, DOA has a guard button, so that is very similar. DOA is also just a 3-button game, guard, punch, and kick. Virtua Fighter, 3-button game, guard, punch, and kick. Same exact thing as DOA. So it's like this game is very remnant of DOA to the point where it literally makes you very comfortable with at least the button movements, some of the movement in the game. The staggering definitely feels very DOA-like, especially because, again, we're talking about a game who Virtua Fighter godfathered all of these 3D fighting games and stuff. So that's just my opinion on how I feel about Virtua Fighter compared to DOA and Tekken. They definitely have their similarities that it takes from both games. But if you really think about it, Tekken and DOA took that from Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter is the first 3D fighting game of all time. This shit did this before any other game did. Tekken and DOA just took mechanics from this game and made their own game out of it.